This is Family Electric Ghost, and we're live with Buel. And we've talked to you before on our audio podcast, but now we're doing these live video podcasts because that's like the new rage to do today. And we're happy to have you back on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again.
Well, you've got some new material, and you're into video as well because your latest music, both two different YouTube videos. And the one we're going to talk about first is for your unique cover of Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit. And I think last time we talked, you said you were actually very much inspired by Nirvana.
Yeah. So no surprise.
Yeah. But but what the surprise is, I guess, is like the some people would think, well, if you're going to cover Nirvana, you're going to sound like Foo Fighters, you're going to sound like Pearl Jam, you're going to sound like Nirvana. And you actually did a different take on it, which is rather unique. Mm-hmm. And so I think we'll get into the video and then we'll kind of talk about it on the backside. So I'm going to put you on mute and then we'll cue up the video.
For whatever reason, I'm in front of you asking for an apology. An apology that I know I can't accept.
This place is cool.
Whatever. We were best friends forever. Now you want to...
Did you just solve it? What's that?
It's a signal cue.
Signal cue?
Load up on guns and bring your friends. It's fun to lose and to pretend she's overboard and self-assured. Oh no, I know a dirty word. Hello, 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 how low, hello, 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 how low. Hello, 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 how long? Hello, hello, hello. With the lights out, it's just dangerous. See, we are now entertainers. I feel stupid and contagious. See, we are now entertainers. I'm a lotto and albino. I'm a mosquito, I'm a libido. Hey. I'm worse at what I do best, and for this gift I feel blessed. A little group has always been and always will until the end. Hello, 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 how long? Hello, 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 how long? Hello, 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 how long? Hello, hello, hello. With the lights out, it's just dangerous. See, we are now entertainers. I feel stupid and contagious. See, we are now entertainers. I'm a lotto and a bomber. I'm a mosquito, I'm a libido. Hey. And I forget just why I taste. Oh yeah, I guess it makes me smile. I found it hard. It's hard to find. Oh well, whatever, never mind. Hello, 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 how low, hello, 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 how low, hello, 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 how low, hello, hello, hello. With the lights out, it's just dangerous. See, we are now entertainers of the stupid and contagious. See, we are now entertainers. I'm a lotto and a albino. I'm a mosquito, my libido. A denial, a denial, a denial, a denial. The lights out, it's this dangerous. Here we are now, entertainers of the stupid and contagious. Here we are now, entertainers.
Now we're coming back. So hold a second. Here we are. So I just wanted to ask you, like, in terms of their approach, what made you make the decisions artistically to go that way with the music, and then we'll talk about the video.
Mm-hmm. I think it's such a huge hit that making another cover that sounds just like the actual song didn't make much sense to me, because I know that like there's amazing covers online. You know, you can find all types of bands, singers, trying to recreate the same song. So years later, then me thinking, I'm gonna make a cover song, I felt the need to like find something more original than just to sing the song the way it is, or try to sing the song, because I don't think I could sing it like Kurt did. So
yeah.
If I'm gonna sing a song, it needs to fit my voice. And I think right after we had the interview with you, I think a couple of years ago, I was thinking, like, I just had this idea of covering just a song, and Smells Like Teen Spirit was just an example in my head. What could I do with it? And I just started to think, well, maybe I could start with this line, singing it this way, and then the pre-chorus should be this way, the chorus should be this way. So I just recorded it. It was just a theory in my mind. Like, you know, it wasn't going to be an actual cover maybe, but it was just an idea of it. And a couple of years later, just like a few months ago, people from my team were like, maybe you should make a cover song and put it out. You know, it's something that you've never done. I covered a few songs and I, you know, shared them on Facebook and Instagram, but I never actually had like an actual release with a cover song. So thinking about which song to pick, talking to my friends, nothing really quite fits. And I just remembered this recording from a couple of years ago, and I listened to it and I was like, well, actually, you know, this could work. Why not? You know, if people hate me for that, it's fine, because I think I know what the message is. It's about experimenting. That's how Nirvana started, experimenting different genres and being open-minded and I felt like I understood the message clearly, and I felt like what I'm doing didn't really clash with their message. Actually, it was just like supporting the message. So I thought that it would be a good idea to have an unexpected approach on such a popular song.
I think a lot of times Nirvana is like misunderstood, because a lot of people think they're like a punk band, like the Sex Pistols.
If you're not punk, you can't get in.
yeah. I mean, they're not really like that. I mean, they're kind of like the Clash, because the Clash actually evolved.
Yeah.
And Kurt loved the Beatles. And I was watching like a documentary, and one of his producers was saying, you got to do all these overdubs, you got to do, double tracking on the vocals. Paul McCartney would do it like that, and John Lennon would do it like that, and he was like, oh yeah, because he was like, he liked to introduce that level of songcraft, and so Nirvana is like a lot more complex than just like the idea of grunge.
Yeah.
And I think that's, most musicians are that way. You might have something that was raw on Sub Pop when they started.
Yeah.
But even then, I mean, what they were doing was a little bit more, I think, involved.
Yeah. I think oftentimes we feel a little bit possessed by what we see, but it's not actually what the artist's trying to say. It's what we see. It's like we possessing ourselves with what we see, what we think we're seeing. And unfortunately, it's not exactly what is trying to be presented. And you have to kind of sometimes try to go that extra mile and try to see that music and being an artist or art is all about being open-minded. And
I think that
expression.
I think that also goes to the video, because the song itself, you didn't approach it from a grunge perspective, from like a punk aesthetic perspective. You kind of did a sci-fi thing, and it's kind of like a Bowie-esque thing, like scary monster type of thing. I think that is another different level, because it's not obvious, it's like typical old school videos. Like I grew up with MTV generation. You'd have directors that would do videos that didn't actually follow the song. They kind of were a different interpretation. They'd interpret it and do a very artistic vision that had, it's not literally following every vocal image matching.
Yeah.
And so I thought, who helped you with the video? Was that your idea, or you worked with a director? What was the whole approach?
It was just a fun process, because it was all me coming up with the idea. But for the full story, I talked to my best friends, my sister, like everybody around me. Were just brainstorming, in the middle of a conversation, like, today this happened. And I'd be like, so how about this alien? What is so painful about this alien's life? Like, what can be so disturbing? Like, it can't solve the Rubik's Cube. Like, it was just a fun process. We were just having fun and coming up with the story. And once I came up with the story, I had to find the right makeup artist and DP and the characters. I actually built the characters, Kentaro character, based on his actual personality, because he's such a quirky, like, interesting personality. So I just wanted to like create that character for him. He's the person who's trying to take over the spaceship and tries to steal the Rubik's Cube from us. So it just, was a fun thing. I directed it and I produced it, but with the help of many people, both thinking with me, brainstorming with me, and helping it come alive. But of course, we had a lot of, difficulties due to COVID, because none of us were actually really in the high risk group. But the makeup artist, I think Dad was in the high risk group, so she was like kind of not sure about being involved or not, but she was like really excited about it. So we just all got tested. But even when you get tested, it's not like 100% accurate.
It's hard.
That day, the same day, you may get it from somewhere. So it was like a kind of like a stressful process. I'm not going to say it was like so much fun. It was like really tiring. I had to wake up at like 3 a.m. to get that prosthetics makeup done. And it was like really hot, and I was like sweating. My, face was just so heavy. It was like a lot of pain. But in the end, I think it worked. I liked what I made.
Do you select your own outfits, or you work with like a designer? Is that all you two as well?
I select my own outfits. If I could I would definitely collaborate with someone if we could see eye to eye somehow. But usually I don't really need to, because I'm like, when I'm imagining myself in a certain scene or a venue or doing a certain thing, I'm like thinking of the clothes as a part of my body. Like when I make this movement, it needs to look this way. So I don't know, it's an instinctual thing, but yeah.
Well, you have a very good sense of style. I mean, so it's, some people like that, they don't, and they work with people. It's interesting to know how much of it is you, and a lot of it is you, which is typical of the indie scene that I've been talking to. Like a lot of people are doing it yourself and having your own sense of style and dealing with your own stagecraft. I think that's really cool to have more involvement, because not that it's bad if somebody else has to have input because they don't really know how to present. Some people are just pure musicians, and then they're like, they would just go out in a pair of jeans and not really try to look a certain way. But
that's a style.
Yeah, it's a style in itself, but it is something about like what Bowie always talked about. Is, creating the theater. Part of music is just the idea of theater, and kind of be like the other you that is a little bit more or is different than the mirror looking glass you. So it is like when you present yourself, you have this kind of stage persona that you can kind of separate from. Do you ever feel like that when you work, that you create like the Buel stage?
Always.
That's different than like.
It's not quite like a something that I think I should be, but it's more like how I will feel comfortable, because even with different people, you've got to have like different personas, because you can't speak in the same manner with everybody. So yeah, and depends on the day and the time of my life, whatever I'm going through. There are certain types of personalities that I feel more comfortable being in. Sometimes smiling makes me feel more comfortable, and sometimes it doesn't. So clothing is the same way. I don't think I would feel comfortable wearing the same clothes on the stage, maybe performing other songs or having that type of a hair or whatever. It all depends on, I don't know. I just like having opinions about all aspects of the, projects.
Yeah, you like to be, that's the whole point, I think, of being like a singer-songwriter, like independent musician, is that you get to control your own destiny, control your imagery, control how you're presented. And that's what a lot of artists today like, that freedom that you can do that. So I guess another follow-up question in terms of actually putting the song together, the COVID aspects of did you do it all like in a studio kind of setting and have to still deal with that kind of COVID protocols, or were you more like at home and then sent it in or to a studio?
The funny thing is, yes, we were in the studio, and we weren't getting tested every day, but like weekly, we knew that we were negative, Wakeful and I, and we had a couple of sessions, and I don't remember after which session, but like he called me up and said he's sick, and I was like, I'm sure you're just tired. Like I just didn't want to believe it, and turns out he had COVID actually, but I tested negative.
So did that like slow it down? So did that slow down? Were you like not done?
I think we were pretty much done. I think I was about to like get the song maybe mixed or something, because I don't remember waiting for a long period of time to finish the song. I think it was after maybe the last session or something, recording the vocals or something.
Oh, so you had laid down enough to produce it.
Yeah, luckily it didn't really get in our way. We didn't really have to wait for a long time, but it was just strange. Like, wow, because I work with other people, I could have gotten COVID to other people, and it would have been really horrible to like make people sick trying to do something beautiful having people sick.
I guess that's the conflict, and like we're trying to still create art the best we can, but we don't want to inflict damage if we don't need to. So it's kind of like a lot of artists are trying to walk the line, and like, how much interaction do I have to get this done? Trying to figure out, like, can I not, do I really have to involve X many people, or can I kind of make it a smaller set of individuals and control it better. You know, it's just you didn't have to think it like that before. You could just do whatever you needed to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's strange because all these difficulties are also kind of forcing you to be more creative. Because if you could have had like 20 people in the crew, now you can have like maximum 5 people, and most of the venues don't want you to be more than 4 or 5 people. So it's like, you know, it was a lot of pressure on me because I was directing, I was in it, and, you know, I was trying to control everything with such little crew. But in the end, I don't mind all the pain if I'm gonna like the final product, and I'm really glad that I didn't get anybody sick, so which is great. I was almost getting sick, but like it didn't happen either. So I just want to say we're really lucky. Yeah, and we kind of had to take some risks, otherwise music videos couldn't have been possible.
Well, I think it's really interesting you talked about the limitations, because I think a lot of people I've been talking to, a lot of musicians I've been interviewing, is like, you know, in this world today of the DAW and all these plugins and all these choices that you have, right? There a lot of times it's kind of cool to actually impose restrictions on yourself. Because I was actually watching a documentary with Peter Gabriel, and he was talking about and he actually put restriction on his drummer, say, don't do any cymbals, don't do any hi-hats. I don't want any hi-hat, I don't want any cymbals. And he was saying that's the rule. And then the producer like was having a really hard time because he's like, I really want to put some hi-hat on this, and he had to like argue his point with Gabriel to say this song actually needs hi-hat, and I can prove it, and I can show you. No, it doesn't. Yeah, and he's like, no, I don't want it because this is what I want to do. But it's like, I think it's really interesting, like when you do put limitations and parameters on yourself, you can actually end up being, you know, going in different directions.
Exactly.
You know, visually and you know, musically.
Definitely creatively a strange time for all of us, because all the planned projects changed, and like how you can do things and how you shouldn't, and also your stream of thoughts changed, like what you're feeding your brain with, all this anxiety and like hearing people going crazy. So it's such a weird time, but we're trying to do the best out of it.
So is this a standalone like single? Because I know you're working on your debut EP. So is this part of that, or is this a separate project?
Yeah, I think I'm not gonna really add Smells Like Teen Spirit to my album, to the EP. This was just something that I felt like the time for it has come, and it happened. But EP will include 7 songs, called, actually one of them, the next 2 songs I will be releasing, one of them is called Persona. I'm touching base on the subject that we just talked about. And the other one's called Small Talk. So Small Talk and Persona are going to be the next 2 songs, and I'm working on the music video.
Wow. So is there going to be a video? Is there a video for every song on the EP, or select songs?
Not necessarily. I don't think it's a must, but you know, if it's possible, and if I have ideas, and if it's not going to get in the way of my musical creativity, time and money wise, why not? But it also is not a must. And I had some ideas for Small Talk already, so it's going to have a music video, but not sure if the rest will do that.
Well, yeah, I think this is such a visual age that in order to, I mean, that's why we're doing the podcast this way versus the audio version. Yeah. I mean, we still convert this to audio because people still listen to this. And so it still goes the old way. But we found that doing it like this, and the fact that we can share like your video, and so many artists have videos, that actually gives a better representation. Like if we're talking to you and we actually show your video, and then we kind of talk about it in the same show, then people actually get a better picture of you as an artist.
Yeah, at me as an artist, but at the same time, you know, but right before I put out the video and the song, I listened to the song just with the artwork, And I was like, wow, this is such a different vibe. And the video is full of like me trying to say something, the story, and like all these expressions. So sometimes it's better to just hear the song and be able to go to wherever it takes you. So it's good to have both of the options. Sometimes my videos may be overwhelming for some people. So, you know, it's just an option.
Yeah.
Like if you want to see the person who's like singing the song, what she looks like or what she, I don't know, likes to show you, then it's good to have that option. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the audio podcast still has some aspects that I think sometimes in the last 3 years I've done them, there's an ability, because you're doing audio, that people sometimes reveal things they wouldn't do on a video. Because
not having your face. Yeah,
not having your face and not thinking about that sometimes they might be more willing to engage
in my pants.
Well, more depth of like they might go into a place that maybe they didn't expect because they start to get more. It's like a telephone conversation with your best friend, and you might start to open up. And typically, when I get into like an hour session, like 45 minutes into it, it starts to get comfortable, and people like reveal more about like their true self. As much as maybe they do, I feel it sometimes.
Maybe. Like we had the audio only interview with you, and I feel more comfortable right now because it's really important for me to like see the person's facial expression. Like, is he listening? Is he work? Like, so it's good to like have that visual thing for me. But I understand how some people may feel more comfortable just like ignoring what you have to say and just like exposing what they want to say. That's also another mode. I personally feel more comfortable this way.
Well, that's cool because it's different. Like some people are more comfortable on camera than others, so it ends up with a different vibe. For every artist is different, so you never know what's going to happen. So you had this other song, "Lemon Smile," in 2020, and it was you got on a BBC One. It was like the best new pop. It was on a bunch of major stations. I'm not sure if I can show that because sometimes we get hit with copyright strikes.
Oh yeah, I mean,
but we can kind of talk about like that project as well.
Sure. You have any specific questions, or you just want me to go with it?
Maybe go with like how that video came about and like the production on it and. Is that another one that was totally like your concept and your ideas, or did you work with anyone else on your team?
It was shot in October. Sorry, it was released in October. I think, we were in with time still. Yeah, but it wasn't a big problem because it was just only. Oh no, actually, we had other scenes. There were 6, 7 people. Sorry, it's been a while, so I'm just trying to like retrieve the memory. For that one, how it happened is I was planning to release another song, and we just heard that some company that we really wanted to work with Agent Garbage, loved the song and thought that it would be a great radio friendly song. So we thought that it would be a good idea to release the song. We had a conversation. Okay, let's put out the song in October. And I was like, should I make a music video? I was thinking, and I just came home with the same outfit, and I had the mirror in the middle of the living room. And, I just had this like moment with myself. I put the headphones on and just started, move in front of the mirror and just try to feel the song. And I just said, you know what, it's really cool. I'm just going to wear the same exact things. I'm actually going to carry this mirror to the music video too. I'm just going to have this like scene as a music video and gonna find a way to express the lemon smile and the straight mouth situation by metaphorizing it using masks and ask people if they would be interested in being a part of it. So it all started with that, like me thinking in the living room right after us talking about releasing the song. It wasn't really like a long thought process. Then I called up a couple of people. I'm like, do you think I'm crazy that I'm planning to do this music video with like a couple of people, including you? and people were pretty positive and really bored and really like scared that they can never like be with a group of people in one place. So they're like, if people are tested, yeah. So, and I couldn't offer like a full mask, but they were all wearing some sort of a mask, and DP was wearing a mask the whole time. I was already wearing a huge mask. So, kind of like to some extent, we did our best. Yeah. And I found the location.
So the Lemon Smile idea, is that your own like creation, or have you like heard that term somewhere in your like travels and you decided to use
Yeah. It's funny because when I was in high school, we had this like literature instructor who would come up with that weird, interesting phrases. And one time we were analyzing Dostoevsky's what was that Pain and Punishment or something. I can't remember the name of the book, but Raskolnikov's Situation or whatever. And she came up with this phrase. He was looking at him as a sour smile or something, and I was like so deeply hit by like sour smile. What is it? And then I came to LA and started work on these like daytime jobs, and people are like, you should smile more often. You should smile. You look sad. You look like you're not happy here. And I was like, exactly, that's not a lie. And after being forced to like smile so much, I felt kind of guilty that I wasn't smiling. So I tried to like rationalize my behavior, I think, by saying, well, at least I'm like not lying to your face. I'm showing you that I'm not happy working here. You know, like I'm not like lying to people's faces, you know, with a lot of other events going on, with like talking to people about my music, them not telling me what they actually think about it, and dealing with this whole thing. I'm like, you know what, actually this is like so logical. Like I'm going to come up with this like lemon smile, not sour, but like lemon smile is a lemon.
That's cool. It's cool that you kind of took it from some. Usually I like to get into where people come up with unique like ideas in music. They're like usually it comes from the story behind it. You know, it's kind of like behind the music. You're trying to figure out why is that the word used, or you know, the term, and it's always a good story. Like that's like the whole basis of what I like to talk to songwriters about, is like, okay, how are you feeling?
Where is it coming from?
What's the feeling? What's the inspiration? You know, was it like really like something that really hit you? And then you kind of, so when you're writing the song, was this a song that kind of came all at once, or was something that took over time, or is it something you've been working on, or just happened kind of out of the blue? Maybe you can talk about that.
Well, literally, one of those days that I was like so full of supportive reasons that I should not do that lemon smile thing. Like, you know, after I supported my theory, okay, we should be 100% honest. We shouldn't try to like just make people feel all right and lie. One of those days, I just came home, sat down, and wrote majority of the song. Just didn't have the second part of the verse, but you have a good taste that fits me today. It just started with this like, you know, imaginary. I just started imagining like somebody talking to me or something. And it just became a thing. And I started, the first thing I did was actually I jumped outside the next day on Santa Monica Boulevard, and I just like busked. I just played the song to the street to see what people would say or whatever. I was like, tell me what you hate. And like, I don't know, I just liked how people were like, cool.
Well, it's cool to be able to get that kind of feedback.
Exactly, yeah. Once I saw that like people on the street were like, crazy girl, actually this is interesting. Wait, they came closer and like listened to my other songs. So I was like, okay, this is fine. I feel comfortable seeing this. So I started to make the song a part of my live shows, and people were like, what's that song, Lemon Smile? And people started to have like these deep conversations with me after the show, which I love. So like, I love that. Like, they're like, right, maybe it's right. Like, maybe it should be that way. Like, we started to like have conversations about it with the audience.
It's cool to have
so much fun.
That kind of, you know, the kind of connection with your audience. If they're, you know, when you're a singer songwriter and you write a lyric and in the audience, you can see them like
Exactly.
they get it. That I think that's such a affirmation.
Yeah.
Like a lot of us, like, not that we're trying to be whatever, but the affirmation that people get our work, whether or not,
Yeah.
you know, even if it's this audience is like, it doesn't really matter. Like if I go to New York and I play somewhere and I get people like, and they really get into it, then I'm like, oh, that's like, that's all I need.
Exactly.
That makes me
Yeah.
very satisfied.
not even like that they understood me, just the fact that it created some sort of a simulation in their brain. They
Like a
didn't
community.
just pass. They didn't just
Yeah.
pass by the song. They wanted to say a word or two, maybe not agreeing with me, but say something, which is really important because art, music, the songs that we're hearing are all about directing our moment today, the thought process. We just we're bored, we want to change the mood or something.
Yeah.
So it's good to have that power in that song.
I
Songs.
think it's really good to be able to engage. I mean, especially even this COVID age, to be able to engage like your audience in some way. You know, I've been doing live streaming and you know, doing the podcast to try to, even though I'm in my little bubble.
Those
yeah, my pod.
socializing.
I'm in my pod, and it's like, okay, I can't go to New York, I can't go to Boston, I can't do what I normally do. And they're like, I actually just in the middle of this whole COVID thing, I had a booking agent that could get me to like Berlin, could get me to like London, and then boom, this happened, and I can't go. So then like I just doubled down on the podcast and trying to like do the connection, because at least this way I still get to talk to people, like and talk to musicians, which is like, if you're another musician, it's like that's like is just perfect, because I think every time I talk to somebody in a different genre, it just helps build like ideas. It's like, okay, I could actually think about maybe incorporating that or thinking about that. And I keep on listening to all these different artists. Like I listened to you, I was listening to somebody from like Iceland yesterday. I interviewed Posimus, and she's Icelandic, kind of Bjork, like, and it was very experimental, which I'm really into. But it's just, you know, and then sometimes I talk to somebody in Nashville, you know, or talk to like a blues guy. And it's like, it's just it's cool to just talk to so many different artists, because you just, you know, it's a worldview. Yeah, the worldview, and it's a community.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like that's amazing that you have a chance to speak to so many people in different mindsets. And I don't know how you go to bed though. Like in the end of the day, you're like, wow.
You get keyed up. It's like that when you do a show and you got to come down from the show and you go to the pancake house because you can't go home because you go to the diner. Like around here, like I'm in the Northeast, so you finish the show, you end up going to like the all-night diner and hanging out with your roadies and everybody, and it's just like until you finally just get so tired and you crash. But it's kind of like that.
You're just using us artists to have a very nice sleep because you're so tired at the end of the day. I can't listen to anything anymore. Thank you. It's time to sleep. Great.
But,
I'm glad I'm a part of this.
Yeah, it's just, I think it's just interesting to be able to see how artists are still pushing through this crisis and they're still creating work. You know, I think
it was always pushing, because I don't know a lot of people who come from, I love my life so much that I want to make a change. Like it all comes from wanting to make a change, not like in your current situation. So it's no different. Like for people who love to create, it's just a stronger reason to do it, actually. Now I really hate it. I hate that I can't talk to anybody. I hate that I have to wear masks all the time. I hate that people are dying every day. So it's like just more reasons to change something. If not the world, maybe somebody's mood or thought process.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing about music is like it can be very healing. You know, music, like if you have an idea, it's personal to you, but how your fans interpret it, everybody kind of feels their own like interpretation of what you've done, and it speaks to their heart in a way. And
Yeah.
so even your original intention, music, I think, is a very healing, has a lot of healing power. And it has a lot of like, it just affects people emotionally. And it's a good
Yeah.
way to like take the thing that's inside of you that might be like causing you stress or causing you pain, and then
Yeah.
you create something beautiful or something important, or even if it's ugly or dark, it still has value because like you captured that emotion at that
Exactly.
moment.
And sometimes you really have to trigger the not that nice feelings to heal. So sometimes using those songs that are not that happy, all butterflies and stuff, actually helps you heal faster because you have that like ultimate like sadness that you're like, I don't know where else I can go from there. So that song helps you go there, and then you come back to your real life and say, well, actually, it's not that bad. My life is not that bad. So it's like,
yeah, it's kind of like
amazing.
when I listen to Karen Carpenter, I hear that melancholy, even though there's like sometimes there's a happy kind of facade, but then it seems like it's just she embodied like melancholy just in the way she like engaged her voice.
The delivery, yeah.
The delivery is full of melancholy, even though the song lyrics don't say that. It just feels that way, and that in itself is kind of like there's a little bit of darkness in it, and sadness in it, and I get drawn into like kind of dark music in some cases. You know, I like the Alexander Cortini, Nine Inch Nails, Trent Reznor, like use of noise, use of like really grating power. You know, they kind of hit you with this like kind of feeling that okay, it's gonna knock you off your ass and make you feel something because like you're trying to like engage. I feel like that's the punk aesthetic has always been something I love because of the engagement of a pure kind of honesty.
Exactly. And I don't know. I feel like happy songs are very escapist, and very necessary, but somehow the songs that promote pain sound more real because life is pain, you know?
Yeah.
You watch a documentary and see it like right away. Like you have to eat that animal to survive. You have to do that. Okay. So it's like pain. We live in pain anyway. So it's not foreign. When somebody speaks about pain, you can 100% relate to it. But I think happy songs are really important too, because sometimes you really can't take it and gotta like find a way to escape and try to make things feel all right. So I really appreciate, I don't know, artists who are capable of doing that.
I think what I did,
I don't know, sometimes I guess. Mm-hmm.
I find it like funk music. I'm a big fan of like James Brown and like Prince, and it's like sometimes that kind of funk exercises it makes you happy. Like you hear Parliament Funkadelic or Sly and the Family Stone or James Brown, and it's like okay, it's not sometimes it's not that deep, but the beat is very deep, and the feeling makes you happy because you hear like a really good funk groove, and it was like wow, that's just really. You just get up and you dance, and it makes you happy because it made you get up and move. You know
exactly. Yeah. Movement definitely is important to like stray away from the extreme melancholy. So whatever makes you move works.
Yeah, it's just different things for different strokes for different folks. You know, going that way. But
yeah.
So the target date for your EP, when do you think you're going to have that ready?
As soon as possible. I just have to finish a couple of things, and it's ready. It's waiting. I listen to it every day.
Oh, so it's all tracked out. You just matter of getting it into the right position or timing issues?
Yeah. There are a couple of things. I finished the songs in 2020. Now I may change my mind about a few things. There are a couple of things like the song shouldn't slow down here and type of small things. And so I didn't get that mastered yet because I knew it should be a last minute thing. Like I need to get that mastered when I'm like ready to release. So I've been waiting, but not much time or much to do is left before I will put it out. And I'm really excited about it because it's a body of work. It's a lot of thoughts and, feelings.
That's exciting.
Makes me feel, yeah.
To have another body of work. Now, are you trying to maybe time it to when you could actually tour with it or do live shows, or does that not even factor in now the way things are? Or would you do like how a lot of times people don't put something out until they know they can actually get in front of people or book shows, or so I don't know how that's working with COVID now, because then you can't really know if you can get into venues in certain places.
Yeah, no, I'm not really trying to time it that way because when it first comes out, I may have another excuse. Oh, people don't know the songs, or I don't know. You can always find a reason to make it work or not work. So I'm just looking at the more like the emotional side of things. Like, how do I feel about it? Is it ready? Okay. Do I want to say these things right now? Kind of things. Not really like haven't strategized it yet. And I feel like, if places don't open up right now and my album's out there, time is just actually working for me because more people are hearing it by the time I have my first show, or less people. So it just all depends on. Yeah.
So have you, like, because you do the videos, that gives you a presence, like in on the ether, on the net. But have you done like live performance on the net through like live streaming? Is that something that you're in entertaining or thinking of, or because you have the videos you don't really need to do that, or are you thinking about that approach?
No, I don't think videos can ever compensate for that intimacy when the artist performing live in that moment. I think it's really important. I haven't done it yet, actually, and we have a plan with somebody who interviewed me a few months ago. They wanted to have me as a live performance artist. I think I'm gonna have one very soon. But when you say that, I thought about it's kind of weird that I haven't had that, but something for some reason didn't click yet. But I'll definitely have more live stuff.
So, because I've been watching some bands my daughter's into, and they did this band Tennis out of Denver, and they went and did like a live stream out of like a TV studio. And they actually, I guess the whole band stayed in a pod, and then they actually did a live show on this sound stage and then streamed it and actually had tickets. And my daughter was like a big fan. She has their vinyl and everything. And I watched it. It was pretty cool. And then actually another band, she liked Gorillaz, which is bigger. People know who they are.
I love them too, yeah.
Yeah, they did the same thing in London around Christmas time. They did it like in the BBC studio. And there was nobody there. It was just like in a sound stage, and they did the band. It's
amazing for people who listen. Yeah, definitely. Like having that, still having the emotion and still being at home and feeling comfortable. Yeah, that's great.
Is that somehow the way you would approach it, to actually have like a full band in a studio play, or maybe like more unplugged, or because different live stream approaches. Some people go like with an unplugged kind of thing with an acoustic guitar in their bedroom studio or like a home studio, and other people try to go to these like nobody's there at a venue and then there's a bunch of cameras. So I didn't know what your thoughts are in that kind of approach.
My first live performance online will be me playing guitar by myself, but the next one will be a full band performance in a month or so. I think we just talked about it with Wakeful the other day, and yeah, we're planning to have like a probably a full set, real drums, bass, guitar, vocal,
live performance.
Yeah,
that's cool. Because I think that is, like you said, like video can't replace that. It's only, the thing is, like when you're playing in that way
Definitely.
without like the audience interaction, then it's probably harder as a
Yeah.
musician if you don't have a crowd. Like I would think like if you're in that sound stage and you got the cameras and you do that show and maybe you got the crew there, but you maybe got like 5 people giving you feedback versus like 300 or 1,000 or
Yeah.
2,000. And it's like as an artist, it's like some artists really vibe off the crowd and kind of perform to the crowd. And if you don't have the crowd, does it fall flat, or how do you get into a mode?
I think maybe that was the reason why I was so excited about it, because the thing with live performances is it's just like just being in that room with everybody and kind of right away change my mood, how I sing. The performance totally is dependent on the audience. So, you know, I just couldn't quite like fit in my brain. How is that, like, I'm gonna play and people are gonna say things, I'll feel distracted trying to read what they say, so I just kept postponing it.
Yes.
But I think I will have, because I also don't like, you know, paying attention to like what they say when listening to performance too. Like people chat in the meantime while you're listening to the music, and you're like, oh, you loved it, great, but like, what am I thinking right now? I want to focus. So yeah, it's kind of like challenging, but for sure.
Yeah, the way I live stream from my studio,
up to date.
I've been like doing Twitch and you know, this channel and some other stuff, and I just have all these cameras in my home studio, and I don't look at the computer. I just totally just get
ignoring it.
Yeah, I just do the performance and try to kind of get in a zone, and then like think more like I'm really getting into what I'm playing, and that drives it without having not getting distracted by the computers. I to keep that away so I don't get affected by it, and just try to get in a zone where I kind of tranced it out, because I'm like, oh, I'm so into what I'm playing that I don't care.
Yeah. That's the best way, I actually think. Yeah,
because like the net distractions is like
exactly fully being yourself.
The only thing I think would be cool is if you're in your earpiece, if people are hitting likes, they would come in as like clapping. Right. So then if they like somehow come in through your monitor, you hear this big like studio kind of sitcom of people clapping and like whistling or whatever. And if people could actually do that on the net, like if we get in a situation where we have to do this, it's like if people could hear the whistling and they kind of yelling and saying, and it's like if people could do that, then maybe you'd have a little bit more feeling that actually the audience is engaged.
Actually, that's a great idea. Like if it could be mixed, like in the right level, not dominating the
just low enough for you to get it, so it doesn't distract you. But
I think it's a great idea. Maybe people should use their voices instead of typing what they want to say. I like that.
Yeah, if you could capture, I mean, the technology exists to capture voice and translate it to something. I'm an IT guy, but I know you could do it. So anybody listening to this, go and do it.
Go do it, guys.
It's a freebie, so we figure it out and do it.
Yeah, I'm using it.
But thank you for being on the show again, Buel. It was really cool.
Thank you so much for having me once again. It was great talking to you.
And we'll push this out. It's going to end up on YouTube after. It'll stay on my Facebook, and then we're going to move it like we did with the audio. So there'll be a pure audio version, like on Spotify and Apple Podcast and all that. So you'll get those, and your fans will be able to go with that one if they want to hear the audio one.
If they don't want to see me, it's fine. Okay, perfect, awesome. All right.
I don't know why they wouldn't want to see you. I think they would.
Well, I may be too, I don't know, disturbing with my facial expression. So
I think it was really a good time talking to you. So thank you for being on the show again.
Always. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.